go over by double.
All right, I guess we're live.
Okay,
I'll be back to turn that off.
1 o'clock.
I'm gonna have to turn them on. So welcome to the Financial Advisory Board meeting. This is our mid-year one. I think last year we decided to set up 3 standing meetings. We'll cover them at the calendar. Welcome everybody here. So I don't know if anybody's on the line, but we got Julie and Dave and Wade, Jay said about conflict. So we should have an agenda there. Usually when we started this meeting a couple years ago, with more than a couple of us, we decided we would review the charter every time. So let me just read that. The purpose of the Financial Advisory Board is to advise the town council regarding financial matters and make recommendations to the mayor and council. The board also assists the mayor and council on special projects that affect the financial affairs of the town. It's kind of generic, but I thought we'd keep that in mind. So we report to the council and mayor, not to the employees so much, but thought we'd start off with reading that. Now, does anyone want to take minutes, or should I just make some notes? I don't foresee a whole lot of content in today's meeting, so I'll just make some notes on here, like I've done in the past.
Okay.
With that, so the agenda items, the primary purpose of this meeting, we usually said it would kind of be in July, was to review our mid-year investment status. The Financial Advisory Board was formed originally because we had funds sitting in our checking account that weren't earning any interest. So we set up a mechanism to move those to what turned out to be the WIO class, over and above the working capital needs we need on a short-term forecast basis. So that's kind of in place. We can review the rates from Robert Casakelli. I talked to him when he said he wasn't going to be able to attend. He says what we're earning on WIO class, I think you can see it on the front page here of the blue document, right now is about 4.25%, let's call it. So that's pretty good.
Yep.
And what he told me was, if you're trying to forecast it, what you should look at is the federal funds rate, because we correlate very closely with the federal funds rate. And he's got a couple more schedules in, but I added one on the back, just how every week the Jackson Hole Daily publishes this. So I blew up that section.
Take it. You have all this stuff too?
I missed it.
Okay.
So if you look at that bottom corner on here, it has the federal funds rate for yesterday, 6 months ago, and a year ago, 4.38%. So you probably all heard Jerome Powell, the Fed, haven't been reducing rates, and we're getting some criticism because employment's down, inflation rate's down. Maybe they should reduce the rate and prop the economy. So, but he's still holding in there.
And their next meeting is the end of October, right?
So they may, yeah, I don't know, they may get political pressure to reduce the rates. I didn't really look closely at these 2 schedules on Roberts, so extracts there, but you can see, what is that top one there? Federal funds futures. So they go by month, and I guess it's the implied rate we look at in the right-hand column. So he's got them coming down 0.3 or 0.4 by the end of the year, so we'll see what happens. But you can pretty much see we're earning 1/10 or so below that, or 2/10 below it. So he says if you want to be, if you're looking at the future, the next year, you could probably use 3.75%, and if you want to be conservative, you could probably use 3.5%. So that's about all we know. We're probably going to look on his futures. It looks like it's going to drop below that next year. It's in January or July of 26, it could be 3.3% or something, so we might only be earning about 3%. So does anybody else have any more thoughts or opinions on what you've heard or seen? I think we're still earning some pretty good interest in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably more than the inflation rate.
assuming the rates are coming down, I guess I'm not sure. Do we have something that shows what our anticipated expenditures are gonna be so we can cover whatever? So you know how to invest
That's
or?
item B I was going to talk. Yeah, that's what
What?
get into that question.
So the budget would tell us what we're gonna spend now by month. If you guys want a copy, I don't know if you have a copy of the calendarized budget, because we don't really, that's not what the ordinance is.
Yeah.
But we want to be able to track that income this year
Right.
on a month-to-month basis, because it's all over the map.
I knew that Yeah, I've seen something on it, I hadn't studied it, but,
So we've kind of timed everything
Yeah.
from a spending standpoint against that income as well.
This is the
Right.
first time we've had a calendarized budget. So we
Yes.
looked at when the revenues come in, we looked at when the expenses are expected, and then you can kind of see if you're high.
right,
And that helps us kind of into the second item, where you can kind of predict or know where you're looking at the month out. Maybe every month after the actuals are posted, we can compare to the calendarized budget or the town plan we're at again. And see, are we on track, are we way below, and if so, why, are we high, if so, why?
We have a problem in that Cassell, which is the software we use for budgets and everything else, guess what? It doesn't allow you to put in a calendarized budget.
Really?
So the calendar, yeah.
Excel, will let you do
I
it.
believe that was where my two, or that one word that I used when Loretta told me. Really? I mean, so we're gonna do this in Excel, but it's gonna tie, you know, from the actuals and from the budget standpoint, since we've kinda got the master file. And we'll have to put it together. And again, it's not required, but we just wanna have it to be able to see it.
sure.
And just see where our misses are, so we can do a better job next year probably, so.
Well, so that, John just joined us, he's a member of our board, let's catch him up briefly. We just talked, John, about federal funds rate. And, our investment advisor, Wireclass, says that, what we earn tracks very closely with the Fed funds rate, which hasn't changed in the last 12 months. But, you know, the Fed's getting pressured to probably cut rates here before too long, so. There's a schedule on here, he gave us the thing, what we're earning now, there's one on here with futures. So we could be getting a full percentage point less in a year from now in the futures, but
Yeah, the best rate
you can see what.
right now is just 3 months. I couldn't get any better rates.
So on CDs?
Yeah. So,
Well, the Wireclass, it kind of tracks whether the Fed funds and somebody takes a couple tenths as a percent or something. And here's the chart, it's been flat for, is that 2020? But anyway, so he told us, if we see here the Fed funds rate's going down, we can expect that we're probably going to track a quarter point less or whatever the same measure they report. So that was kind of an interesting takeaway from the company. If you just want a simple rule of thumb. And then that leads, mentioned the calendarized budget that we have, that kind of leads into B, which is the treasurer's process for moving excess funds. So I mentioned before you got here that the board was originally created as an investment advisory board, that's what it was called, and Boyd Sidway and myself. And we just wanted to try to identify the excess funds so we can move it into a place that would give us some interest earnings. And then Wireclass works great because I think you can pull it out daily, right? You pull it out today if you need some. So what I kind of would like to review at least once a year is this treasurer's process for moving the excess funds or pulling back funds when we need it. And I think that calendarized budget, I'm not sure how that works at your working level, but if you get an idea that if an expense is delayed or expenses popped up that we didn't need, I'm sure you have a process to pull that in. Maybe you can just tell us how that kind of works on a day-to-day basis.
Walk through that
week to week or
process for
whatever it is.
everybody.
Just educate us how it's
Basically,
working.
every Monday before I do payroll, and I check our checking account
Monday?
balance to
Okay.
make sure that we're good for everything I'm about to do, so nothing bounces. Unfortunately, with our budget and our outlook this year, there's probably not gonna be a lot of movement because we're draining our reserve accounts.
Consumer.
We're taking money out this year, we're not putting money in.
So when you say you may not have enough, you're pulling it back from Wireclass?
Yes.
As needed that week, on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I haven't really had to do that. Lately, the only thing we pulled out of Bioclass were the 2 new trucks that we bought. We took those out of capital equipment, and it was split. It was 67% out of the general, and then the 33 out of the water
Okay.
reserve.
But you're looking at that for the week, or if you hear something's coming up,
Yeah.
purchase or something? Okay.
It'll be interesting to watch, again, if there's restricted cash, then you're not touching that. I mean, again, that stays in where it is, but on those where it's the general, or the water, fund, we'll just monitor it. This is the best way to do it, I think.
It's just like you monitor the budget, are we out over, under, this is monitor do we have the cash on hand
Yep.
in our bank or in our account? It's kind of two.
And if we know there's a large capital expenditure coming, but we, yeah, like for the water, and they don't have enough, then you would move some over from the general potentially, no? You
General
don't do
water
it.
can't cross,
They can't ever?
no. That's
Okay,
The only
okay.
thing, if water's running out of money because there's an emergency or something,
Yes.
we can take money from the general side
That's what I was
and we can
referring
put
to.
it in the
Okay.
water, but it is a loan. We have to set it up as a
Oh,
loan and we have to
oh.
pay interest.
Okay,
You-
Okay.
Water has to be self-sufficient,
and so we charge them an interest rate that is,
We have to charge water interest if we give them money
Fed
out of the
rate.
general fund.
okay.
But they have money in Wire Class too, don't they? Huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
could, you could pull it out for
Yes.
them for their expenditure out of their designated balance and.
Yeah.
I think we think it's working pretty well.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, that kind of,
Let's see.
pretty much that.
Wait now,
Unless anybody has a
am I-
question.
am I understanding correctly, general fund can't transfer money to the water fund?
No, only as a
Oh, they can
loan,
loan
and they
it.
have to pay
They can
interest.
loan it, and what interest rate do they have to pay?
Council would decide.
What?
Council would
We
decide.
would probably use the Fed rate.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we don't want it to be a burden.
Right,
Right?
sure.
So, I mean, that's my guess. I mean, we haven't had this yet.
I know wasn't there money transferred last year? Was it last year?
It's like a quarter
From
billion
the
or
water
something.
fund, from the general fund to the water fund?
That was probably before me.
Well, it was, yeah,
Yeah, show up on that.
I thought there was
What's this,
something
210,000, whatever it was, transfer from general to
Okay.
water, they didn't give a good answer on
yeah,
that.
that's fine. I mean,
So there's no outstanding loans right now?
There's no outstanding.
Outstanding loans between water and general?
No,
Everybody's,
just the outstanding loans with the state on the water projects. That's it. Principal and interest.
town to town, inter-town loans, there's none, this thing off.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
we will monitor that interest rate though, because we budgeted a little, if somebody wanted to do the calculation, we're probably a little high as a percent on the cash balances, but I believe our cash balances are lower than what they really will be, so instead of messing with the cash balances, we just increased the interest slightly, so it's like 4.5% that we put in.
okay.
But again, we did that so that we didn't have to change, meaning, oh, let's change the timing of the cash going out. That's harder than just picking a little higher interest. I think we're conservative, basically.
Because the interest in the budget was pretty far from.
Yes, it was, but again, the balances are dropping,
No.
so,
All right.
But I don't
Anybody
think
have
they'll
any
drop
questions
as
on the
fast as
investment
we do.
outlook or anything? Well, like, other than that, Rob didn't have anything. You have no predictions on what's gonna happen moving forward with that funding.
so.
He did mention it, he checked his activity. So, we're utilizing it.
Okay.
All right, any old business item C on the agenda? I can't think of any. No, okay, cool. New business, I don't know if this is the mayor and council having requests for something.
Well, yeah, if you want me to go through the list of items that
List?
there's a list. I mean, we met last night, so I wanted to give everybody kind of an update on some of the things that we're doing in the town. But also the one request that, again, we would love for the Financial Advisory Board to help us understand, build a checklist that we don't have to build from scratch because Alpine already has it for annexation. We're getting a lot of interest and talk about annexing from parties that want to be annexed in to the town.
Really?
Yeah, there's several, okay? And so the question becomes, the biggest and most vocal is obviously Mountain Estates up here. And we're not gonna make any decisions for quite some time, but it's almost like, what should this be? Because we know Alpine just went through this and annexed in a certain section. We know that they've done this work, right? Somehow to review it and say, hey, what's the cost benefits, pros and cons, all these kind of things. We just don't have a checklist yet. We don't have a process of even considering what you know, what options, what things do we need to worry about, especially with mountain estates. I can sit there and come up with, just brainstorm on a whiteboard and say, well, water's number one to me. If they have a shallow tank, what are we gonna do if we annex them in and then they want us to put them on or they want us to put them on our water? It's a huge cost. So there's things like that, and zoning. Do we even know that they're going to be building to our level of code? And so if we had this and said, look, if you ever want to be annexed, you need to start doing this today. So I don't know if anybody has any experience on this, but I do know that Trevor talks to the mayor a lot for Alpine. And we could probably get somebody to come and help us, or at least on a Zoom call, help us say, hey, do you have a checklist? We could, I mean, let's not recreate the wheel, let's share it. But has anybody ever dealt with anything like this? This is new. I mean, we know it's, okay, the benefit is you got a larger tax base, but
Yeah.
Well, so,
that's a long ways off for something like Mountain Estates, because they're not gonna have, I mean, it's gonna be a slow build process.
Well, Alpine doesn't have a checklist, they just,
Well, that's what we'll find out.
okay.
So I will take that on, but I wanted to make sure that everybody, I will find out what Alpine has and see if we can get,
Okay.
but I'd love the help of the FAB, because again, the more the merrier to review this kind of stuff and say, yeah, well, I was thinking about this and it wasn't on the list, why not? Let's make sure we think about it.
acquired from Arizona, you got one there, Jamie printed 3 copies of it, she can print more. This is the guide that for Arizona cities for annexation. You know, I don't know if Wyoming has something similar, but this has all the steps. Notices-
Wow.
Notices you gotta give, I've got one that's highlighted that I've read through. The public hearings you have to have, all that kind of stuff. It kind of comes down, one, regarding Alpine or somebody else, I think it's easier for a town official to talk to another town official than some citizen from the ranch like us going to talk to them, so.
Yeah, okay.
Even if you set up a meeting and Mayor Green or whoever it is up there was involved with it, their council person, that'd probably be the best way, official to official.
It is interesting on the, like the first page, you get into creating county islands. Do you guys know what that is?
That's what the surrounding non-incorporated.
That's where you can't have an island, you can't create an island, so you have to have, so in our case, that's not part of the town, kind of thing. And that's, let me read it to you, it says, in other words, an annexation cannot result in the creation of a new county island.
This is
Meaning
Arizona law.
surrounded by, I know, but I mean, that's exactly what we have here. You can't do it in Wyoming too. So you can't cover an area all the way around. You gotta have
Surround
it.
it,
So, and
landlock it.
the good news is on our east side, we have national forests, so that makes it impossible on that side, but it is interesting to know.
This has a lot of things in it. Jamie could print a few more if anybody wants one of these, or if the council wants them. She's got the file. I thought that's a good place to start, and see if Wyoming has something like that. This has all kinds of things in it.
So do they tell us what the source of what they drew this from?
It's the League of Arizona Cities and Towns.
Yeah, I mean, but it didn't come right out of the blue sky. did it?
No, it's
But
been
did
revised over time.
they reference, anything?
They referenced it on Arizona revised statutes, which are state laws. It talks about how this is the latest iteration of this thing, so, and they want feedback if you go through the foundation, so it's a great document. My son's the city manager down there, so he says this is what they follow when they go through an annexation.
No, this is good.
The one other thing though
Read
is,
it.
here, the problem, well, first of all, you gotta identify what services are we providing to the town, I think. I should be making notes on this.
Yeah, currently what services we provide.
So, and those are things that you'd have to provide to an annexed area. Now, how do you get reimbursed for those services? And I've heard that we only get our revenue sharing from the county or state is based on our population from every 10-year census. So you could be putting in plowing roads and things over here until 2030, 2031, whenever the results come out, and not getting any tax money for it. So I think that's a big issue here. So we have to identify the town services and then realize if that's truly the law, or the way it funds are distributed from counties and state, then you kind of be stuck. Now, in Arizona, what they did, they had the legislature, according to my son, they had the legislature pass a bill where they can now use the population estimates that the Census Bureau does every year. So we don't have to wait for the formal 10-year census.
Yeah.
So they're able to distribute their revenues based on the annual estimates. I don't know anything about those census estimates, but that's just what he told me. So those are kind of things we can keep our ears out on, or if somebody wants to make some calls or something, figure out.
Well, I'll talk to Trevor as well, besides reading this document, but we need to come up with a checklist of some kind that, or a,
This has all kinds of
process
things.
that,
It depends on if you want to get into meeting or public notices and, how many, it's a ton of stuff. But I think I would start simply with what services would we be providing in the annexed area.
yep, I like that idea.
Trevor can, he's the one who's over public services, if he can come up with a list of that. We can get into later, how much time does that take, how many roads are involved, or what, the size of the annexation would drive the cost of it.
Yeah,
But we can come up with some cost estimates based on those services, and then the frequency of providing them.
yeah. And what I can do is, as I get information, I'll just use everybody's email here and just distribute it out. Just say, hey, here's information that we received, and ask for input and feedback if we can get it, so.
So does he want the entire proposed lots
No,
annexed, or does he just want pieces as they're
what
developed?
the way I think it is, what considerations or checklist, you mentioned, what things need to be considered
Yeah.
before you.
It's not really, we're not looking at a specific annexation, it's more, what do we consider to that point, right?
Somebody comes in.
What do we have to think about? If somebody comes and says, like these big, larger 5-lot sections going down, Prater Canyon Road, down towards the bottom, if they come in and say, hey, we wanna be part of Star Valley Ranch, what do we say? What do we give them as a guiding, a document that says, well, here's what you need to do. If you wanna do, if you're really serious about it, here's how we think about it. We haven't developed that yet.
But Izon has approached about annexation more than once.
Oh, yeah,
With
a
Mountain
lot.
Estates, so my
Lot.
question is specifically towards him.
To him,
Is he looking at the entire
thing.
plat of what he's gonna develop, or is it just pieces as he goes along?
he wants that entire square of his, because it doesn't have the whole thing, it's just that, probably the bottom half of that white space, the whole thing,
Oh, on the map.
covered.
I know, I thought he was pointing out the window, I'm like,
No, no,
that's
no,
the wrong
that
direction, I
little-
think, right? Yeah.
You can see that big square, half of it's
Yes.
farmland and the other
okay.
bottom half is the mountain estates, yeah. So the whole thing, because again, he wants to get a road, well, not that he wants it, the county says he has to have an access road built up on Vista.
Right.
And that's why there's a lot of things that he would like to have, and we're going, well, whoa, we've got to think through this a little bit. We're not gonna rush to do this.
What would our requirements be?
Yeah.
As well.
And that's it, but to your point, what do we currently provide? Well, our ordinances are structured around P and Z, water, roads, all of that. That's where we would start, I think. And just think about it from an,
Wait a minute,
Pieces.
interrupt you for a second. Wait, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, what I found is, much like you guys have all, nobody in Vegas, have said is that you asked, you are the citizens of, here, you just asked about annexation, and they get down to details immediately. We don't like this, we get the roads, and so, I think that's putting the cart in front of the horse. I think we need to stand back and say, what things are we looking at in general, so that we can address those things in our specifics and the checklist. So, you see what I'm saying, is
Yep.
that we've got to start out. So, neatly written on the back of a piece of paper, only I can read. So, in issues are and I didn't think this up, I plagiarized it.
Well, he reinvented the wheel.
Is,
Chat
governmental-
GPT.
Is on the governmental side, talking about steps and voting. Number 2, economic and financial. 3, social and social benefits. Okay? That's in general, okay?
Okay.
So, this is what, I can't even read mine right. Anyway, it says that, so you look at what are the benefits first and look at the consequences of it, okay? And specifically, even before you get to that, what are the Wyoming state statutes? And I think you've
The
already.
Arizona one references all of theirs, so that's why I was wondering, is there a similar document for
There
Wyoming?
must be,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
that's
There
right.
isn't.
I'm not an expert
Talk
on
about a law in here, we've got to see if there's a similar
Yeah.
law.
I know this is going to become a great disappointment to you, but I'm not an expert on Wyoming state statutes.
Maybe,
But there's 2 of us.
I assume there would.
There's more than 2.
But I'm changing it. In general, that's the first thing you have to look at. The consequences are, franchises, special districts, transfer of things, just like the sheriff, financial implications, which we were just talking about. And the other side of the whole thing is the cost of not annexing. So, what is the cost of just not doing it,
That's a cost benefit on both sides.
Is there, what is there?
A good example is if you don't control fireworks, that's, meaning that little square, they can have fireworks going off, and guess where those land?
Downwind,
Downwind, probably in our town, and you can't control it. So
No, but
that's,
they're liable for it, aren't they?
well, if
You can
you
find out
can
who
prove
did
it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yeah, you see the dilemma,
plus they're not subject to the ordinances and regulations.
right?
But
But,
I do have to say, even with fireworks ordinances, that doesn't stop people from shooting them off, so there's
Yes.
I
that.
don't see a whole
Yes.
lot of, even though we have all these ordinances, I don't see a whole lot of doing anything for most situations.
Would another, I just had this thought, would another, possible, resource for us to go to is it the Wyoming something municipalities, WAM, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
The-
WAM. Mhm.
I mean, I know the mayor went to that, I mean, I know
and
she
that's
goes to
what
that
I'm
conference. or
hoping that
whatever.
they have something like this, that
Yeah,
Arizona
copy
has,
this and ask
that we
around.
can get. That's
Yeah.
what we'll find out.
Yeah.
So you can print more copies, you can take a copy.
And I-
that's what you
Yeah,
can
that's gonna be
Uh,
my first question.
I do have a special relationship with the, town attorney of Evanston, and I don't know when the last time they annexed was,
Well,
but I can ask him too if they,
This
if
talks
they
about
have
you need to
any.
have your attorney involved in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's
so,
legal
but
costs.
he may have something he can send me too, of what
Well, there
they're
has
similar
to be
to,
something,
yeah,
so, that's just.
Well, you might know if
let's
they
get
have
it.
an
Yeah.
annexation guide like this too.
I think that's the first place to go,
Mm-hmm.
is exactly this.
Okay.
well, they talked about Alpine, I'll check with Evanston,
Okay, check, I mean,
and I think WAM would be, or whatever it's called,
it's
What do we need to know?
Wyoming Association.
Before we
I
means-
think it's WAM, yeah.
Which I think, if I hear it right, I don't hear well, is what do we have to know to ask the right questions?
Exactly.
So before we can
I know.
look at that, we need to know what questions should we be asking. And I think going to the attorney, or especially somebody who's an expert in municipal type of things, would be very important.
Has that person seen annexations before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does Wyoming happen to have any kind of a guide or checklist? We can't be the first town that's ever had to go through
No,
annexations.
no, and that's why something exists, but when we gather this information, the bigger picture is the mayor needs help and guidance, and has asked the financial advisory board to help, make sure that we're thinking about things the right way. It's not a heavy lift, it's more, let's see what it says and see if we're missing something. Yeah, multiple eyes, and that's really so that everybody comes into it knowledgeable.
It kind of goes to our chart, assist the mayor and council on special projects that
Yeah.
affect financial affairs.
So that's the first one, if I can keep going down my list, so.
You're talking about implications or?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, annexation, we'll see what we can get and gather and,
Well, before you leave annexation, so one question Julie might know. If the town now has more houses in it, they're not part of the association, so now we're gonna have homes that are part of the association, and not part of the association in an annex subdivision.
Yeah,
I think we
I
have
was,
that now, so.
I was wondering about the process of getting, I didn't know what the process was, but I will bring it up with the group, because I don't have enough experience with the association to know what that means.
I don't think, town can't require them to join the association can't
They
require.
have to form their own association like Sunrise
Yeah,
did.
but then.
yeah, Sunrise, you guys know what Sunrise is?
I don't, I've heard of it, but I didn't know
Okay.
where they were.
Here's this little group down here,
Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Sunrise Estates.
Okay,
And they want a fire hydrant put right here on, or the town to put a fire hydrant right here,
yeah,
so if there is,
yeah,
they've got wire to put out a fire if something happens, right? Because they have no fire hydrants in this little subdivision. And then this is the square that we're talking about. This is Prater,
yeah.
hold on, what's it called? Prater, it's the Prater Mountain Estates? Prater Mountain Estates, this whole block in here. And we're required to provide them some lines. We've got some
Meters.
meters in there now, but it's a small line, and we're really worried about the quality of the line that's going in here. But
for
there's
water
requirements
use,
that
for
town-
water,
Yes,
but they're not part of the town of Star Valley Ranch, right?
Are we getting paid?
but, and this is the weird part of it. So the original agreement was between the association and Prater
Estates.
Canyon Estates.
Okay,
Then the town was formed.
okay,
The town takes over water. And so that has transitioned to the town. This was a long time ago, because this was all done. So that's why now it's part of the town's issue. And we're looking into it. But again, we don't have to do anything right now, but their wells are going dry. I think they have one well. Yeah, they only went down 100 feet.
but of that, oh,
Is this an indication that we need to revisit annexation?
Well, not revisit it, because again, we're not gonna make any of these decisions anytime soon,
I'm
but
just being generous.
I think you want all the possible implications and considerations and.
before you ever make a decision, that's what we're doing. We're gonna do our homework first. Right.
So that might be a different set of questions. For annexation like that, that's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
we're not far enough down this path to make any of those, we just don't know enough yet. So, and I've only been doing this for, 6 months, and it's been all focused on the budget. So I'm just now starting to venture out into these other areas, but.
so I have a question, so except for the Sunrise Estates then,
Yes,
and I know Prater's probably not Prater Mountain Estates or whatever it is,
Yeah.
Canyon.
Canyon
Everything
Water.
else on that map is part of the association then, right?
All
yes,
the Star Valley Ranch lots except that annex.
Yes.
Sunrise.
Okay,
But
even,
pretty soon people are gonna say, well, how come Isaac's place doesn't have to be in the association and we do? They're closer to the golf course than I am.
well, I know, but again, it wasn't part of the original
I know, but
boundaries.
people are gonna ask that, I already asked.
I mean, yeah. Even, I don't believe you have the 4 commercial lots here.
I think you're right.
That's the part, so, and those have all been purchased now by Allred. So, these 4, so we'll see, they'll come proposing something for some commercial in those. He's got the end one already with his storage, for his garage doors, but anyway.
Well, anyway, so association
Yep.
effect is another question. So before we leave this topic though, what's our gathering process for gathering tidbits? Should we figure out how we want it? Rather than just random emails floating around.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how do we don't have like a shared drive or anything, right?
It probably needs,
How,
I'm so tapped out with HOA and Mill and.
Well, again, you have a choice. Either
It's not that hard. It's just-
people take it and send it out and say, hey, I'd like to have a review of this, to give me your thoughts, read it.
Yeah, you can do that, and then somebody can summarize their thoughts, but where would that go as a repository to summarize at some point?
We don't have any kind of filing system, right?
The old days, I just print off a copy of whatever I found.
Well, the old days, I just put it on my laptop hard drive and that's where all the files go. So I don't know.
I forget it's on my laptop.
I don't have an answer for you.
Make two recommendations, maybe they're all the same. First of all, I think I've heard, where do we start besides general discussion? I think the two places you've already made up your mind that makes a good place to start, the attorney, get a report from him, and you said the town of Alpine is willing to share with us. So those two things would be a start. And the third thing is have a central repository. Is that what you were just talking about?
Yeah.
So to file up so
Or a
that
point of
if
contact.
we show, if some guy shows up on his golf cart and does his usual thing, he can say, can I see the file, the repository, where we're keeping all our notes and stuff?
And we don't have one of those currently.
Or if somebody says, oh, I just heard of another issue we should put on the list, well, where's the list?
What I'm suggesting is, I'm seriously now, I'm really suggesting there is a repository, if we put all this together, so that we have, so when we meet together the next, as we meet together, we can look at it. And of course, I think this is the appropriate place to put it, and I'm all for sticking the for staff with having a file for it, and it doesn't have to be any more than just this document, this document, this document. I'm not asking you to, categorize it and alphabetize it and
Well, it
digitize
may
it.
not be a treasurer function too, so.
No, but
Could
I'm
be a
saying
clerk
that's-
function.
But I'm just saying that would be a place to start,
Yeah.
and then we could go from there, but I'm just
If
suggesting.
somebody gather all, like, you could keep a master Word document, every time somebody sends in an email, saying, here's the consideration, you cut and paste it in there and keep it going. Now, we could do that separately for some period of time, and then get together and brainstorm and write them all out on whiteboards or something.
Exactly, but it's
And then
not
summarize
for
that,
perpetuity.
and then see what needs to happen
Yeah.
after that.
But I would certainly like to hear what the attorney has to say.
Oh, yeah, there's all
Or
kinds of,
attorneys, and also get there and get, as you said,
Yeah.
the face-to-face with the people in
some
Alpine.
locals
Yeah.
have done.
Alpine, we've got Evanston, we've got Wham that we'll also figure out, and then the state. Whether it's the attorney that'll have that information, we'll find out.
And
Those are simple questions.
And
Taking
I'm
copies.
not adverse driving my golf cart up to Alpine to meet with them. As long as it's at Marvin's.
Okay, okay, so the question becomes, I have no idea if we can even find a repository place. It'd be nice to be able to put these things on the town's site somewhere.
Or something, a working workbook or something.
Can we have a Dropbox, cause we just get a Dropbox file and have all of us share it?
You're talking high tech, yeah.
I mean, that's what,
Yes.
that's what the association does,
Do they?
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we have ever had.
Like a shared drive or something?
I mean,
shared drive?
Google Share Drive is fine too.
You
I
can,
haven't used any of those.
but Google, yeah, you have to, I worry about Google because anybody can go in and change it. Now, you do have an audit trail to see who changed what, but you go in thinking, oh yeah, this is what I did yesterday, and it's gone, right? Or it's,
Well, we could have a central repository, idea gathering place, if you will,
Yeah.
where we can do those individually and come together at some point,
okay.
lay them all out. I've got all kinds of sticky post-it.
Let's see if we can figure out,
These will have-
like a Dropbox or something that, that we can use, okay? I'll take that one on.
Ask about that, when they ask about how we're good coming on this thing.
Okay. We done with annexation?
I think so.
Okay, so, the next one, I just wanted to let everybody know, the Wade Hershey, is he completed, or is he coming back? Wade
He's
Hershey
not
is the
coming back.
auditor.
He still has some things to finish up, but he's gonna do it from his office next week and just continue talking
Okay.
until, the auditors come next month.
Okay.
So is this the annual audit?
Yes.
We got the report back in December, I was already in Arizona.
Yeah, but it'll take him time to put the whole report together, but
This is
he
the one
has
that kicks
finished
off
his
that.
work here, he's got all the information that he needed for year end here.
Okay, so
And,
this on-site stuff's done?
Yep, so we'll see what kind of issues and comments he'll come back, but we'd also like to share those with the
So
family.
that leads to what our next meeting might be.
Yep, okay, next one, and we could have him come in and just give us a verbal as well, a review of the report, I'm assuming, he'd be probably more than happy to do that. Next one is, we're in the process of building or creating a policy on a contingent capital approval. Right now, the mayor is handcuffed in the case of an emergency or an urgent matter, where if it's gotta go and get approved by the council, and that's just not appropriate, because if something happens, you may not be able to contact everybody and get it done. So we're looking for we're writing up, I'm actually doing this, we're writing up a policy that basically says up to this dollar amount, you have, it's part of the funding, but it's,
Sign off authority.
yeah, so that they have the ability to say, I need to do this now. All the documentation will still come in, the support, it's not gonna be like, oh, well, where did it go? It's all gonna be very, very clear.
Communicated.
Yep, but that's in process.
So one thing of that is define what an emergency is.
Well, emergency or urgent,
Everything will become an emergency.
but you cannot define it too closely because
Well, the
every
circumstances.
situation is gonna be different.
The circumstances.
And so from an
Challenge,
audit
time
standpoint,
bound,
you do not wanna create a policy that paints you into a corner. It still gives you controls, but you can't make it like, oh, it has to be this, because then they'll call you on it. So, but again, it'll be an opportunity to do this, and I'd love for you guys to give us some feedback when we get that drafted.
Oh,
And-
reviewing the draft.
What is it, the emergency, what did you call it, the emergency capital?
Well, it's contingency. It's a contingency amount set aside for these kind of projects that pop up where they have to act now.
Is it just an approval authority limit, or is it, if it's a pot of money somewhere?
Well, it's gonna come out, we'll set aside a residual amount that says, here's $25,000 or whatever it is, that you can go to. If it's above that, then you have to have approval from the council.
Okay.
An amendment,
Most
right, a budget
organizations,
amendment.
the manager can approve 5,000.
Yep.
the director-
Grants of authority is what most corporations use, and that's what I'm using as kind of my straw build, if you will, because that's what I've got.
Tons of those out there. So
Yep,
it's really
okay.
emergency circumstances and situations.
Yep, but I want you guys to be aware of it. We want to do it all above board.
So you want that to be a separate line item in the budget, or just,
It, generally speaking, the budget is, if you have this capital funds and you have areas like roads and water, all your capital projects go into that. If you're gonna underspend a project, like we're gonna underspend on Vista Road, you can have that, it wouldn't be additional funding because we're gonna use excess reserves for that contingency. Does that make sense to
you're
you?
encumbered, you have money that you've encumbered, and now just.
Well, let's say it was money authorized.
You can use that money for, okay, so it's not a line item,
That's right.
but I got the idea from listening, and I was in the front row, but I maybe wasn't listening, that he thought that we were gonna have X number of dollars in that fund.
Well, again, it's not excess in the fund, it's up to a certain amount of
Yeah, I
spending
understand
that you can
But
authorize.
So you put 50, just use.
Let's say you put
50,000.
50 in for the whole
Put
year.
50 in for the whole year, and you can use up to 50 during the year.
Yeah,
If it fits the criteria.
that's right, if it fits the criteria of roads or
But
water
it's- So it's a line
project.
item then.
Yes,
Okay.
But again-
But you're saying, but what you're saying is that the council can, move funds from one line item to another line item.
line items, if they're in the same project, you have to be careful, like Vista. Let's talk specifics, Vista Road. Doesn't matter, we've got $600,000 allocated for, authorized for Vista Road. It could be a host of different things. Let's say they need a new piece of equipment to complete the Vista Road, because now they're not gonna use an outside third party, but they're gonna do it themselves. Still goes into the project to complete Vista Drive. Does that make sense to you now? Because that's really what we're talking
understand
about.
that.
It's a project, not,
Incremental.
yeah, it's not incremental. We're not trying to spend more money in total.
You're reallocating.
Because then we would have to have an amendment to the budget.
Yeah. To increase the budget.
And if this really, you could go down that path if you wanted to, and set up an amendment to the budget that says we're gonna set aside $50,000 for contingency. We could do that. But, and allow the mayor to make those decisions, or the town administrator to make those decisions in an urgent manner.
And then you back her up, and back him up at the next council meeting. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you show all the support. detail.
That can be applied, yeah.
And why this came up is they were looking for an item, they found an item on an auction site that would have been absolutely perfect for us. And I can't remember, it was a pump?
It was the back truck.
That vacuum.
Vac truck, that's what it was, the vac truck. We could have got this thing for like,
2,001.
it was so cheap for a $60,000 vehicle. We have a trailer today, it's inoperable, right, for vac, and so that was, and we lost it because we could not get authorization.
Yeah.
That should not happen. And that's what we're saying, is if we know we need it, right? But we don't have it as a line item, we can't go through the whole amendment process.
Or expediency counts.
Yes. So that's what that's for, and I wanted you guys to be aware that's coming.
So she's obviously looking for this before our next budget, like, because we just went into a new year, she wants it right away.
Well, that's why I'm drafting
He's
it up.
drafting it, you want us to
It'll
review
take
it?
time, this is not gonna
And it's
be,
an ordinance that has to go through to do it?
it's not an ordinance, it's a policy.
Okay,
That's
Or
what we're
internal-
doing.
Internal control.
but it's no new money.
Because we're gonna have excess funds available, is kind of the way we're thinking about it. Does that kind of make sense? We're trying to figure out how to come up with this, because again, it's gonna be tied to either roads, or it's gonna be tied to, well, like this, the excess from Vista. We're not gonna spend all the money on Vista. So can we, but for roads, can we continue to use that if it applies to roads?
Well, typically, your procedure though, what, to purchase something that has to go before the council and they have to approve it.
Yes.
So all they're trying to do
Yeah.
is not have to be able to do that. If there's something that is a good deal, you gotta put a little trust in the people, but.
That's what
you know,
corporations
then
do.
it comes
CEO,
back-
for
it
instance,
comes
has a
right
grant of
back
authority.
after
I
when they
think,
do it.
I understand what you're saying. I think what you're trying to do is I'm sorry, sir, but I think you're mixing apples and oranges. You're telling us where the money's gonna come from before we have the contingency.
No,
And I
there's
think-
two
I think-
options.
I think that's pretty, again, just the cart before the horse. I love that cliche. Remind me to use it again. I'm saying that'll work. That would have worked for us right when she saw it. But I think you need to, I think you gotta set the rules up for the contingency first. Then,
Well-
and then you look for the money.
Okay.
Because it may come from something else.
So this policy hasn't even been started yet. The question becomes, to your point, do you set up a policy that says we're going to put in a contingency budget line item? To do that for this year, we'd have to create an amendment. That's what you're saying. I'm saying in the future, I'm just saying global,
Yeah, let's look at
the big picture down the road, because we don't have that amendment right now, is if the mayor, over the course of the next couple of months, needs that, right, for a piece of the project that they're doing, can we use the excess funds from Vista, for instance, to buy certain products?
What is the contingency first, then go find the money. That's what I'm suggesting. I think that's what, I think that
But you don't know what the contingency is.
That would be more, that would be a bigger
But
emergency.
you could,
Again.
Christmas, I've known you long enough.
I know, but it's gotta be a
You're-
dollar amount.
You're good with words.
Well, I'm just thinking, a grant of authority, in any corporation, you give your CEO a certain amount of grant before he has to go to the board, the chairman, right?
All the way down. to the-
All the way down, but this is at the very top.
Yeah.
You're not gonna call a board meeting for that CEO in a certain circumstance, cause it's $50,000 or $100,000 more than what the board has granted his authorization. But he knows he needs to go do this now.
Yeah.
Time is of the essence.
You give him a policy that says, in these circumstances, you can do this. And that's that first step. The second step, to your point, is where does the money come, how do you create that? Yeah, it's two prongs.
So
I
you're
get
gonna,
1 point for.
you're gonna take it, you're gonna make a first draft or something like that.
Yes, and we'll see, but it's,
What is emergencies, contingencies, or whatever the best.
and I've basically just
What
pulled together
Then we can review it and comment on it again.
a straw man that I've gotta go through and just make the wording right now for this situation, but anyway, so
So
that's.
what are your initial thoughts on the amounts? What are your authorization levels? Cause I would be interested in that, even more so than the sausage making of the policy.
I don't think it needs to be very big, because I don't want them making an emergency decision without the council being involved. If it was, I think 50's too much.
Well, you should ask the council what they think of it.
This is just my personal opinion. We will get to that point, because it's gonna be a big blank, up to a certain dollar amount, and then we'll have a dialogue and discussion. I think 25,000 is fine, for right now.
Or maybe up to 50, it depends on what you.
But that's the point, you have to put a dollar amount in.
Opportunity, or whatever, different categories you
And
want to call it.
I can't even begin to tell you what the other council members and the mayor think, because we haven't even had a
I'll
dialogue.
tell you if you.
But that's where I would, if you were to hold me and say, what number do you want? I would probably put in 25,000 right now.
And is that gonna coincide, or is there right now currently in any of our purchasing policies, a requirement for bids of amounts over X amount, or are we already below that? Do you understand my question?
Yes, the bidding process, that, this would fall well below the bidding
Okay.
process. No, we don't want to get into that. That's why it's got to be a small thing, but again, if somebody can move on something quickly, we want them to be able to, we don't want to tie their hands.
Well, yeah, and I'm just considering with the perceived, from this citizen, the perceived issues that we've had in the last year, I'll call it that, in the town, of misappropriation or
Well,
whatever.
fraud,
Well, okay, fraud. I just wanna make sure that that policy is pretty tight and pretty low. Like, I'm not saying $5,000
well,
low, but I'm
but it's
certainly
not the dollar amount, it's how you show the spending. What's that process look like? That's gotta be tight.
Right,
Meaning, this is it, this is what we're gonna do, and this is the money we're gonna spend. Yes, the money amount is there, but again, it has to be very transparent across the board.
And maybe you need one counselor's verbal approval or something before you charge it.
Well, that's what we were debating the other day. Do you need
One or
two
two.
councils? Cause again,
Two would be a majority with the mayor.
if you have to find them, and he's got 2 hours left on an
Yeah.
auction,
Yeah,
you're not gonna happen.
we're down to the last.
no,
10 minutes.
I'm fine even without the second approval, if it's low enough.
Oh, that's right. I don't know what
That's
that,
what- yeah.
we're gonna have a full range of thoughts, but if I were to
Maybe
just
it's
start.
maybe it's a tier thing, depending on what the emergency or contingency. is.
Yeah, it could be. There could be a whole host of things, but you'd like to keep it simple. Just so,
I agree.
okay, you get this, and, again, if you do use it, here's all the rules.
There's requirements.
Here's what you have to do. And that can be, because, and nobody is against that at all.
Last one was about your paycheck.
Yeah, okay, so moving on here, let me give you a couple of other ones. We had talked about, when you guys first came in, roads, it came up in our session last night, we authorized them to move forward on buying the equipment necessary to do chip seal. And that's part of this whole thing, because it is clear with the, state of Wyoming that it's by project. So it doesn't say how you have to spend the money in the project, just so you complete the project. So We found a way of buying the equipment we need, and that equipment will allow us to go from, they did some math, a 40-year life cycle of completing all roads in the town. It would have taken them 40 years to do asphalt and chip seal at the rate we're doing it, at the cost we're doing it, externally using third party. Now with this equipment, they believe they can do all the roads, cul-de-sacs included, in 15 years.
Well, maybe we ought to buy 2 of these trucks and do it in 7.
Well, then you have to add labor. Our biggest concern is making sure we keep the roads labor people that we have, the expertise on staff. Because if we lose the expertise,
Well,
we're gonna have to hire it.
that's what I've said in the past. Every citizen in this town complains about roads. I think we ought to find the best road guy in the state of Wyoming and pay him enough to keep him here.
It saves you money
Cheapest
on
thing in
it.
a budget you can do. I mean, it may be making
Yep.
more than anybody else around here, but you can keep him here.
Well, 2 things we do is roads and water, and you have to have probably the expertise in both and you'll save tons of money against third party outside, because they're getting profit margin.
Sure.
Huge.
How much is this truck, by the way?
Well,
50,000?
60 for the truck.
and the other equipment was, I think it came to 120,000 total, right?
Are we gonna save that off?
I thought it was 120 is what they mentioned last night for all the equipment.
Well, I'd rather have some equipment than paying a contractor for the same amount.
Well, and they're gonna do, you guys know, on the 28th, they're gonna start tearing out the road base here, 24 inches on Vista, all the way down. And the good news is, we get the equipment, that baby will be paved before the end of the summer.
Instead of next year.
What about 5?
5 is as well as 21.
By the end of the summer?
Well, that's the hope, because they got the equipment. So they'll finish this quickly. Well, summer is debate, meaning, is it gonna be September? Is that still summer to you?
No, I just meant before the end of the year. Is
That's
that
the hope.
better?
All 3 of them. We wanna get the equipment, and we'll do all plat 21, the finish 5, and do Vista. So I knew you guys would be happy. Trevor said that he'd had some complaints from people saying, I moved here because we had dirt roads.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, then move somewhere else that has dirt roads.
They don't obviously dust their own home.
They don't. I said, don't worry about the 2% of the people that live on the ranch that are worried about pavement. I mean, maybe it's because they think people are gonna go faster. Maybe, I don't know.
See, that's the dilemma though. The truck was 60,000. It was bought on an auction. That's the problem with the limited to 25, say.
But it should be a project that you've already got budgeted,
So
is where I'm going with the 25 says, it wasn't budgeted, it was never
Oh,
planned.
okay.
So 25 for
You
non-budgeted
So
items.
Okay.
if the truck came up, that would be okay because it was in a budget.
Well, that
Exactly,
project
it was, but that gets back to John's point, it's a 2-prong.
Yeah.
It's budget versus amendment versus contingency or excess. We'll figure out how to get all this in the policy, but, try to keep it simple. So the roads.
This road thing's just informational, we don't have to do it.
Nope, and that's, just so everybody knows, it's chip seal, because in every, worst case, 3 years, every 5 years, you'll have to redo it, but we've got the equipment. And I said, well, what's new equipment gonna cost you? Probably in 5 years, you'll have to replace some equipment. I said, that's so much cheaper than what we're talking about now. So, but that was approved last night. We are going through the ordinance reviews. Right now, everybody has their own, every council member is reviewing a certain group of ordinances to make sure that they are still applicable.
Past ones?
Yeah,
Can we
just,
try to get rid of some ordinances? I mean,
well, if you have any suggestions,
it's like-
anybody that has any suggestions, I'm more than happy to
Well, when they go
to
through
pass
it,
those
they ought to
along.
have an eye towards what can we get rid of, because this town's an ordinance generating machine.
Yeah, it is. I can't even
Where do we
find some
go,
of
how
them.
to get rid of it all?
People give me the numbers and I go, it's not out there. At least not on our website. Maybe we have one, but it's not listed, so. Okay, that one, and then just a couple other things, 2 things. One, well, we already covered, the new reporting for 2026. So you guys will obviously get a copy of that, report, that monthly report every month. And last but not least, there is a proposal that we went through last night to combine the water board and roads board. I asked, well, why are we doing this? Well, it's efficiency, because again, they sometimes tackle the same issues. I have no idea whether that makes sense or not, but I said, well, why would we do this? And it's purely for efficiency purposes. And we do have a lot of good expertise or experience now coming in on these boards for both water and roads. But they would call the new board and it'd just keep all the people, but you'd probably have subcommittees and whatever. So there'd be more people involved, but they'd call it the Public Works Board, okay? And,
Public Works Advisory Board?
yeah, Public Works, well,
Your employees are called Public Works, so they.
yeah, Public Works Board, Advisory, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't get that specific, but the idea is to try to, there's gonna be some meetings that it'll be easy to just say, okay, that's a specific item for water. Table it, send it down to subcommittee if you needed to. But anyway, that was the proposal. It was news to me. But that's all I have. Is there anything else for you? You can ask if there's new business, but that's all I had.
That's item D then, so E is,
Yeah.
anybody here have any issues, concerns, new business you wanna bring up?
One time also, I thought there was a question about, the town doing their own police force. Is that something that's still going
Well,
on?
this summer, what we're doing, we just hired a guy part-time that's, former law enforcement, 28 years or something. And we're gonna see how this summer goes. He's currently just part-time.
Part-time SMO?
He's more than, you could call him that if you wanted to. But he's handled a lot of different things over his career. We're gonna see how this goes. We didn't wanna just jump out there and say, oh, let's hire a sheriff.
But can he give tickets or not?
No.
No.
Can't.
I don't think,
But we need more coverage than what we have right now.
Sure.
yeah, from what I'm hearing, it isn't, coverage may be an issue. It's more of the limited powers that our SMO has.
You'll never be able to, again, what do we have here in this ranch more than anything else?
Dog complaints?
No,
Oh, speeding?
no, from a, I'll call it
You
from
hit
a
'em all, though.
serious safety concern,
Does.
no. Domestic violence.
Oh, really?
Oh. So,
And you can't, what are you gonna do? I don't care and so you're
Well, that
fighting.
may be a concern. I don't think that's not what I'm hearing.
Citizens
biggest
don't worry about
That's
that.
not the
Yeah.
citizens.
Right, that's not the
citizens'
citizens' complaints.
Right.
Citizen complaints are exactly what Rand just noticed, and we
But we
can't,
want our
and our
county-
SMO can't do anything about it.
Well,
Now, so I've seen those sheriff reports every month of,
yep, Yep.
E11 now. Can't you just get that data for a year and see where the sheriff actually is calling it here?
the sheriff is dealing with, again, what do you call it? Criminal activity or things like domestic violences and other things. They're not dealing with, Johnny's left a, abandoned car on his lot for 8 months. That's, again,
That's ordinance.
Is the
stuff.
SMO?
yes.
These are parts
Well,
of
if you
it.
look at what the court things are each month that the court, the judge goes through, those are the citations that have been issued. But again,
So realistically, we should see an uptick in those, right? With
You would
the
think.
part-time
You would think.
person.
Crime's out of control
Yeah.
here.
and I don't know, again, what happens, you have this posted everywhere, fireworks, right? Somebody sees you lighting off fireworks, right? You'd be cited, and it's up to a certain dollar amount, right? We see that. They would go before the judge, and that's what would happen today. So, can you do that with every yeah, I don't know. A dog bites are out there, right?
Sheriff, yeah, they have to be reported.
So, the thought was that by having a presence, just somebody more visible, more the hours, because a guy working 8 hours a day isn't gonna be as visible as in the evenings and everything else.
Well, he was 20 hours a week, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was minimal. So that's why, I don't know, what is his,
Is he weekends or what?
do you know what
His
Jim is?
schedule's Jim's 40 hours a week.
40 hours.
Jim is 40.
But this guy is gonna be filling in evenings and part-time and,
Well, I thought I saw 20 hours a week, 25
Yeah.
bucks an hour. Is that budgeted?
yeah, it is.
That's-
So
to
that's
me,
the
that's-
question is, we're gonna try this. We don't have to
Yeah.
do it again, but if it seems to have an effect, he'd be more than happy to do it next year.
Okay, well, just have him remember that there's 2 plats down there
There
that
is,
we need
yeah.
attention, and I can tell you exact addresses, so.
You should be tasked.
You
like-
should, oh, he was here last night, actually, for
Should
the,
be
for
tasked
He's
the,
here today.
like Jim is, drive every one of our
Is he?
31.
Jacob's here today.
Jacob's here today? Yeah, he was downstairs, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh, was he?
That
Well,
really
he should
nice
be
guy.
tasked with driving every mile of our roads at least once a week,
Well,
so we never see some of them up there.
And I don't want to belabor the point, but I was going to say is that I understand, and I've been wrong before, many times, is that the biggest issue in the United States right now is domestic violence, and it includes, weapons. Well, those are and they seem to go together.
Includes what? So weapons?
weapons,
It's a weapon.
weapons, yes.
So I'm saying that if that's going to be the emphasis, I think that's a good one. Because,
But I think the county, we're the 3rd largest municipality in the county. If we don't have more sheriff coverage, there's something wrong with our negotiation skills.
Yeah, they
Okay.
just doubled their fee.
We should be able to get them up here. This is my take. This has nothing to do with the council or mayor, but my view is, why can't we get more visibility for sheriffs in their vehicles up here?
Well, you gotta look at where they spend their time, is it highways, is it? towns?
Highways
What is
and
it?
bars. That's why they're
Yeah,
down in Thane.
So, it may not be populations, it may be where the action is.
But I still think you should be in the neighborhoods.
and as soon as they start construction in earnest and on the nuclear power plant,
Oh,
they're gonna suck it.
Yeah, that'll
Never
Well, we
mind.
ought to have basic,
Well,
coverage.
So I think you're right, getting ourselves established now, is that being ahead of the curve
Yeah,
is a
that-
very good thing.
And what we've done with this part-time help does really nothing like that, okay? It doesn't. It just creates more visibility to people coming in Airbnbs and all those kind of things,
More
okay?
awareness and from visibility.
Awareness, but
So, this was on the rumor list you wanted us to look at, but it's off now, cause you went with this.
we have
trialing-
pushed that out for
We're
right now.
trialing this, part-time.
Because again, I'd rather take the slant of when our contract comes due to talk to the, to re-up on the sheriff's coverage. I wanna see their logs. How often are they here? And if we're really, I mean, I get it. We don't have a bar, we don't have commercial activity. But
It's
you
a
still
time
should
suck.
be here.
Where are they spending their time?
So what will be the measure of success to know, what's the measure of success of knowing if this
Yes.
part-time SMO was something we want to look
Effective.
into agreeing? What's going to be the measure of success there?
I cannot recall that Trevor has that laid out. Because somebody asked that very question. And I don't know how he was gonna structure that, but again, if he's giving out citations, even if, to your point, there's not a lot of teeth in them, they're a little more teethy than the association, but again,
Well, he knows.
let's
how-
see,
he
let's
knows
see
how-
what comes up. I think if he does nothing, then it says, well,
Yeah.
we don't,
Well, I mean,
we
you
don't
don't
have a.
have to travel very far to see, and it may be vague, and that's the problem, or we just don't wanna deal with it. But you don't have to travel far either here or in my plat to know that there's a lot of the nuisance violations
Okay.
right now. Like, I could probably point out 20 between here and home, and I'm
Oh,
5
right.
minutes,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
If you're talking about just crap in people's lawns, or
Yeah.
on, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The stuff that nuisance ordinance a few years ago was supposed to address.
right.
And I don't know how well it's done. I mean, I'm like you, I'd love to see, show me KPI, show me a dashboard, right?
Right, like, does he pay for himself? Probably not, right? But I don't think our current SMO does
Right.
either. Does our sheriff? I don't think that does either. Like, I don't know if you can judge public officials that way.
I don't
but
know either.
I don't know, I mean, it's disheartening to know that we pay that much money to a sheriff's office and we don't see very much
And
of
we
it.
don't see them. I
It
mean,
doubled last year. I remember that one went from.
it
like
went.
It's
and-
155 is
And
my
I don't
understanding.
think I've seen any more visibility here. I mean, I
double.
drive on the ranch all the time, but I haven't seen any more presence. But that's the point.
Oh, I've
is
seen-
we
I've
can
seen it.
stress that and say, I don't think we have enough visibility here. If you want us to pay this, we need to see more.
Well, it was radar.
Oh, well, we come by every night at 2 AM.
Not helpful.
There it was.
Anyway, well, but Julie, you're spot on. And I feel the same way. But we're not gonna renegotiate a sheriff contract yet. What we're gonna, let's see what this does. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate that feedback.
We didn't offer them that doubling, they told us their price was doubling.
Okay.
I asked that in the council meeting.
I thought we asked for more. I thought we did ask for more and a little bit more coverage.
I can't
But
remember. Do you remember, Loretta?
That was for the dollars we were giving them.
Yeah.
They
That was
came back
before.
down to the dollar.
I did hear back from, my brother in Evanston, and he said, all I said was, does the city have any guidance? And he said, yes, the state statutes are the source of annexation powers of towns. There's a lot of them, but there are plenty, they're pretty straightforward. Essentially, they can be voluntary or involuntary. I did write him back and I said, he hasn't responded, but I said, does Evanston have a checklist that they use? I'm trying to determine what
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah,
And he hasn't responded back to
Okay.
that, but.
let's see. I mean, thank you. Because that's exactly, let's do just reach out to people.
Yeah, just keep your ears and eyes open, gather information, and we'll figure out.
We'll figure out how to put it all
We'll get
together.
and draw it all out on the board
Okay.
somehow.
And I'll bring a file down and leave it with you guys.
A manila folder?
I'm sorry, I'm not electronically astute as anybody in this room, and so I like written documents.
Me
So-
too.
So if I have to bring a file down, I'll bring a file
with you.
down. I'll bring
We
two.
have some.
So Loretta, remember that when we send out here's the month financial report. Let's print it on big, get an engineer printer.
Colored, appreciate it.
Okay, anyway, but thank you, Julie, for that comment. Any others I can take back?
I have one question in general, and with both, with Medicare, Medicaid being cut, and also, Cigna, there seems to be on the hospital list of things. I know we have, for our employees, we offer benefits, right?
Yes.
Do we have to, are we in the position we're gonna have to change insurance companies?
Yeah, we have
Okay, have we heard about any changes and increases or anything we have to be concerned about?
not yet.
I'm sure it's positive.
No, I
It seems like-
wouldn't assume that.
I think Jackson Hole, or the St. John's up there was budgeting, what's the number, 6 or 8% increase, so they were expecting their reimbursement fees to go up 6 or 8. I thought, well, that's higher than inflation.
Well,
When do they come up, do we negotiate this once a year, or how often?
you're open, when's your open enrollment
Period
period
negotiation
for what Blue Cross Blue?
December 1st.
December 1st? Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So we'll know by December 1st.
Well, the providers will offer their best rates, and then
Yeah.
people with coverage, that offer coverage. will offer
Exactly what I was
and pick which one they
concerned
want.
about, yes.
Yeah, I don't know what was budgeted, but I would expect a pretty high jump, and I think I'm gonna tell my clients to expect 15%.
15.
That's what I'm gonna tell them.
Wow.
And we never get,
I'm just going out of
Caress sells
state. I'm
Medicaid,
gonna
he's
do
got
mine in
200 agents
Utah.
selling Medicare, so he gets early warnings on what the Medicare rates are going up, but whatever. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so is that it for anybody else have anything new? It's kind of just a bunch of awareness stuff. Oh, placeholder dates for future meetings.
Dates.
So this calendar here, usually, so our next meeting, we kind of got into this 3 times per year. Review the audit, do the budget preparation, and then the investment review, and other things like today. So when do we think the audit will be available? Anybody have any idea? But as he said, what did you call his name?
The
Hershey?
auditors are coming the second week of August.
They're coming back. So I think last year, it was supposed to be done like the middle of, or early November, but it wasn't. Because I was here until mid-November. And I didn't
Can we
know
ask
where
him
I was
when he
on.
thinks he can have a draft? Just timing wise, so we can put it,
Wade doesn't do the audit, he
Oh, who-
does the pre-audit,
Oh.
and then it's Janice and Thomas, that's coming the second week of
oh,
August.
so
to do.
that's the slow one.
Oh, and December's a bad month.
To do what, the civil audit or the?
Our audit, Jen Simpkins will be here the second week of August.
When did
to
you
start
do
doing
that?
her audit,
June
June 30th.
Okay, June 30th.
So that would mean he's probably not gonna be ready till October. Does
Probably.
everybody stay here, or you're
Oh,
around,
I'm
June?
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's our full-time,
okay, you leave town,
Yeah.
but we can always do a Zoom if you guys, you know,
I'll be
We've
here
done it before.
through October, I'll be here.
okay,
I leave in
maybe,
yeah, and then Jay, he leaves too, so on that,
It'd
on
be
this
nice.
list here, I put where everybody goes and then we
okay,
keep them.
yeah, on the second. Okay.
So, Dave's Maricopa, still like, still going to Maricopa.
Well, house is for sale, but we'll be in Sun City West if we
Okay, so
sell
close
it.
by.
Okay.
So, but I don't know when to expect that, so it's hard to plan a meeting date without, the first half of January is bad for me because I'm closing out the year from HOA.
Yeah, I would like to avoid the first half of
Yeah,
January.
year-end closings too, so. So is late January, is that too late to do anything to change it on it? So ideally it would be December then too. It was supposed to be in November last year and it wasn't.
Well, that's what I wonder if we could push for November. If we could talk to them and say, look, if you're gonna be done in October, you should be if you're starting in August.
And we,
Why does it take so long? And if you
Well-
want me to have a conversation with you, I'd be more than happy to say, this is we need to do this. We need to have it done and wrapped up in November.
or at least.
A draft.
late November, early.
If we could
Even
just have
if
a
it's a-
really good draft in
yes.
November, I'd be fine.
Because last year I asked a couple of
It
questions.
was, yeah, last year they had it.
I asked a couple of questions and I get the answer back, because they say, oh, they just changed it.
Well,
Well, that means I must have pointed out something that was screwed up and I don't even know why. Then they wanted us to look at the water and ask.
that's why you've got to finalize it by November, and if you can get a draft, it can't,
And we can ask the
we
questions.
all know how
in the
long it
draft.
takes to do audits.
It should be, yeah, in October, the first part.
That's where
Between
I'm
first
going.
and middle of October.
I'd rather review a draft and ask questions then than the one that they gave us is final.
It's final,
And they come
yeah,
back and change
and that's
it.
why I'm thinking
You
you
know,
could probably have it.
Depends on their personnel, and last year they had a problem, I think.
Well, we can kind of keep it as a placeholder and as we get closer.
Yes.
I can send out what date works best for everybody.
That's good.
But I'd like it to be in the November, December.
Okay.
And then the budget,
So first reading, second reading, third reading, how involved does everybody want to be? Because we could do a first reading review,
the budget,
yeah.
I like the budget stuff.
I mean, as a, hey, guys, here's what we've done year-to-date in 2025, 26, and now here's what 26, 27 looks like first pass. And first reading is always a good idea, I think.
I went to a couple of working meetings this time too, where we talked about it, so it's kind of,
Well, April 14th would be
coincide.
first reading,
April.
May 12th would be second reading, and June 9th is third and final reading.
but we'd be done with our input by the end of May.
Well, so if you wanted to kind of say, okay, let us put the first pass together, you would see it the same time the council sees it, and then for the second reading, we could gather in all input and make changes as necessary. Does that sound good?
First draft, yeah, then we can kind of look at changes issue after that.
May 11th, May 12th.
12th,
May 12th.
that's the second reading. So what we would want to do is probably have a session at the end of April.
After the first draft reading,
Well, because we're working on the second draft.
we did something in March this year, I don't remember what exactly.
Well, that was just,
That
we
was
didn't-
more of a review, there wasn't any, yeah, because we were all out of
Right.
town for that,
I,
so, that was not, we didn't do any budget stuff at that meeting.
Okay,
see, if you do it, because we gotta issue the second reading 10 days before. So the 12th, 10 work days, right, calendar days, or work days, weekdays. So if you have it on the 12th, see, you really need to meet that,
you're talking April, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's the fourth.
that third week, the week of the 20th would be perfect for us, because we'll have the first reading ready, you'll have it, you'll be able to review it, and we can make changes ahead of the second reading. Does that work?
The week of the
What day are you
what?
talking?
The week, someday during the week of the April 20th.
April 20th.
Yes, because the
Council
first reading will be complete, and you'll have that data, and we can decide if there needs to be changes before the second reading.
Well, when does the water board come in asking for their $3 a month?
I can't answer that.
The more I think about that, the more I wonder.
But they can go on the second reading or the third reading. I like this year, they waited till the very end.
I've done a lot of rates in my day, I'm kind of curious how they come in.
But if you wanted to pick a date, just pick one of those, 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, we're usually trying to move up at about then. When do you guys come back to,
I'll be back, should be.
Mary?
Well, I'll be back what?
In May?
Well, I'll be back sometime in April probably.
And then,
That's why usually a month we come back,
What's
so
today, the
sometimes early,
24th?
sometimes late. And John, when do you come back?
I stay here because all the damn doctors are here.
You can get appointments here too, you go down there, everybody goes down there, you can't get appointments.
and,
No, I'll be here, so.
and you can check with
My only
Jay.
conflict would be, if they're planning a medical procedure to see if I'm alive or dead, this fall, so I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. The doctor hasn't exactly told me everything.
Well,
And I've learned, like, arguing with you or your brother, yeah, better listen and shut up.
So,
well, you pick a date when you want us to be moved,
put April 23rd,
23rd?
we'll do that, okay? That'll be reviewing in detail the first reading, but suggesting changes.
Then we can do July again on,
Investments,
for investments and other things.
okay,
I don't know unless somebody has a better time.
just pick a date that, yeah.
I don't know, 23rd,
Oh, we got two 23rds.
that'll be June, so 23.
Okay.
So nothing, we don't know the October date yet, but there will be an October meeting
Yes,
Or November.
this year, October, November,
we'll
okay,
figure out October or November based on what we find out.
okay.
Rand, can I make a suggestion that we keep it in our hip pocket, but if there are some major changes to this wonderful schedule, this is the best current schedule I've ever seen, is we may want to have to revisit this more quickly.
You mean if interest rates change?
Yeah,
Interest rates
That'll
change.
just affect the amount of interest.
And see what, or at least suggest that we get a printout similar to this.
Well, we can ask them for this every 3 months or something, whatever.
Yeah, I'd say, maybe, how much, is that, was this a lot of work for you?
No, that's our investment advisor who runs the Wyo class investment. That is
I would say, my feeling is that, I don't know what the result of the meeting was today between the president and, Chairman Powell, Fed. But we were probably, I think the markets are going to immediately react. So I think we might at least be cognizant of what's going on.
Well, this page comes out in the Jackson Hole Daily every week. I saw it yesterday. You got it if you want it. Whatever day it comes out, yesterday's Tuesday. So I kind of just keep an eye on that now.
That's good to know.
Just take that and the next time. That's why I make this thing up. But we can have Robert send us this whenever we like.
I would just suggest that if we're not gonna have a meeting, at least expect an update, well, I would say almost month, if changes are made, as we just discussed, we might see changes more quickly. But what do you think 3 months is enough time to? That's what's your opinion, sir?
We really want a good estimate of this when we do the budget. So
leading into it.
the rest is kind of nice to know, we're keeping track of, that's why you kind of look at something like this. He says, whatever this rate does, ours moves in lockstep with it.
Yeah.
Highly correlated.
And it'll be
Now, when we
real
start doing
interesting.
budget in March, that's when you really
Yeah.
wanna start honing in on what numbers to come up with for interest.
By March, see, we'll have a lot of actual months ahead of us or behind us, so we'll know what we're spending and what those cash reserves are doing up and down and, yeah.
That's where we rely upon you to track all that for us. Thank you.
Well, Loretta puts it together, I just put it in a nice little spreadsheet, that's it,
A monthly update,
yeah.
'cause I haven't seen any of it.
No, well, you don't generally,
Send those if you want.
we don't have, remember, last year we didn't have a budget.
Right.
So there's nothing to show you other than the total year. This year, there will be a nice little financial package that shows the actual against the month. And then when we get into multiple, multiple months out, then it'll be a year-to-date. That way we'll be able to see everything at that level. We just didn't have it, it was my estimate, and sometimes I don't like to share my estimate because I was wrong, like I have been for 40 years of my life.
Just a stake in the ground, nothing's gonna come in exactly.
Right.
Now, does anybody else want a copy of this Arizona guide?
You can have this one.
We'll have her print one off, I read through it, highlighted a bunch of things.
Yeah, I'm looking
Summarize
forward,
it, would take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
Considerations in here, not only the financial, but if anybody talks to, who's our, is Doc still our,
Yes.
Copy of that?
I would ask about that, can we use, introduce something to let us use population estimates from the Census Bureau instead of the 10-year thing to get our revenues? Because some areas are really growing, and we ought to be getting more based on that.
Well, you see the building that's going on here.
Yeah.
It's growing. Okay.
So I'm gonna probably put that in my notes, if you can
Yeah.
ask the mayor when they talk to, anyway, whoever,
Yeah, see if there's somebody
whatever
that,
one of those guys here, Doc's there, comes to council meeting
I
sometime.
don't know how that works. Something to figure out. How do they pay us?
It's based on the population estimate, or sales tax,
Well,
I don't know how-
cigarette, lottery, all of those. There's a whole bunch of them. But, thank you for all you guys volunteering for this wonderful